Okay, so here's part 2 of me reading Bambi. Sorry. Soon Bambi and Feline were playing happily together, chasing each other round the hills, hiding in the bushes or behind the trees. Every day they played new games. The whole forest was like a wonderful wonderful park for them, and they only stopped playing at night. Bambi and Feline were always together, and Thumper was a bit jealous. "Your cousin is a sissy," he said one day. "She never wants to play with me." "No, she isn't," said Bambi, "and besides, if you ate less clover, your belly wouldn't be so fat, and you'd run faster. Then you could play with us." Sorry. One day, Bambi and Feline went with their mothers to the clearing where several deer had gathered. "Who are they waiting for?" asked Bambi. "They are waiting for the king of the forest, the big stag." "You will be the happiest and proudest of all," said his mother. "Why?" asked Bambi, again very impressed. "The big stag is your father, and that's why everybody calls you Little Prince," answered his mother. Then came the sound of pounding hooves, and the big stag burst out of the woods very scared. Bambi drew closer to his mother. The king was strong and beautiful and looked tenderly at his son. "You must promise to be courageous, and one day when I'm old, you will in your turn become the king of the forest," said the big stag told Bambi. Life continued happy for Bambi and his mother for quite some time, but one day it wasn't the sun that awoke Bambi. A frightened noise could be heard all over the forest. It was the sound of shooting. "Danger, man!" cried the running deer. All of the animals and birds fled into the trees. In just a moment, the whole place looked deserted. Bambi's mother began to run, crying, "Bambi, hurry, hurry!" The shooting seemed to get closer every minute. "Why are men so mean?" Bambi thought. He ran fast as he could, but his legs were getting tired. "Faster, Bambi, faster!" shouted his mother as they were fleeing. It seemed as if their happy life had turned into a nightmare. Every shadow, every tree looked threatening. Suddenly, just in front of Bambi and his mother, the big stag appeared. Follow me," he said, and he took them to a thicket. They heard the shouts and loud roaring noise go by. Then everything was quiet again. "You're safe now, my son," said the king as he continued majestically on his way. Bambi and his mother waited in the clearing until they were sure the hunters had gone away. Then they returned to their home in the heart of the forest. Soon summer was over and the weather grew colder. One morning Bambi woke up shivering to find that the world had turned white during the night. Every blade of grass was covered with a white coat, and so was every tree and every bush. His mother was watching him and said, "That's snow, Bambi." Bambi put one hoof out onto the snow to test the cold, crisp surface. Then he walked forward carefully, lifting his feet high. It was a lovely winter's day, and the sun sparkled on the snow. In the distance, Bambi was surprised to see Thumper playing on top of the pond. He hurried towards his friend and skipped on the smooth, slippery ice. Down he fell as Thumper laughed. Oops. He's so cute. Soon Bambi could walk on ice without slipping, and he and Thumper had a fine time playing in the sun. Once then they heard a faint snore from a snowbank. They looked down a deep burrow and saw the little skunk there fast asleep. "Let's wake him up," said Bambi. "No, skunks always sleep right through the winter." "Winter," Thumper explained. "It's called hibernating." Sorry. Winter was a lot of fun, but as time went on, there was less and less food. All the animals became hungry. The squirrel, being very wise, had stored a lot of food inside a tree trunk, and now he had nothing to worry about. Bambi had learned to dig in the ground to look for plants or grass. Nights were long and very cold, and Bambi always hurried back to his mother to keep warm as soon as the sun set. One day Bambi got lost. Not far away he suddenly heard a big bang. He was frightened and ran as far as he could. Sorry. Then he stopped, his heart pounding. Everything was completely silent. He looked all around, then he began to call desperately for his mother. Suddenly the great prince of the forest appeared at his side. "Your mother can never be with you again," he said quietly. "Now you must be brave and learn to walk alone." Then he left, and Bambi was all alone for a while. Fortunately, Feline and her mother found Bambi and took them to their part of the forest. Time went by, and little by little, Bambi's sorrow lessened. The snow started melting, and one day there was no more. Everything was brown and damp, but something was already beginning to change. The forest was awakening from its long sleep. All the animals were out, smelling and sniffing for the coming spring. The long winter was finally over, and everybody was peeking out. Flowers were blooming here and there, and the trees were tipped with leaves and buds. The spring sun shone on Bambi's coat as he walked along the forest paths. He carried his head proudly, for now he had a fine set of antlers. Bambi wasn't a fawn anymore. He had grown tall and strong, and he won all the races. Sorry if the coloring looked a little bit weird. I had it too close to the camera. "Woo, woo, woo," flutters Mr. Owl, busily flapping his wings. "What is all the hubbub?" he asked with a frown. "Won't you let me sleep? It's been days since I slept a wink. Has everybody gone crazy?" "Nobody is crazy, Mr. Owl. It's springtime, and we're all getting ready for the happy days ahead," said Thumper. One day Bambi was walking alone in the forest, and he began daydreaming. He thought of his father and of his mother, who was no longer with him. He remembered what his father said to him, and it seemed that things had changed. He wasn't a little fawn anymore, or that he knew, but what was it that had changed, he couldn't tell. Suddenly he wasn't alone anymore. Standing next to him was a beautiful doe. "Do you remember me, Bambi?" she asked. "I'm Feline," and she licked his nose with her pink tongue. Both of them went on down the path together. They were back together again, running and jumping, but it wasn't the same as it used to be. Feline seemed to play with Bambi, but when he got closer, she ran away from him, and then she waited for him a little distance away. Bambi was entranced by Feline. He didn't pay much attention to anything else because all that mattered was his pretty little cousin. Suddenly one day, as he was chasing Feline in one of their endless games, Bambi understood what it was that had changed. He was tall and strong deer now, and it was spring, and most of all, he was in love. Bambi ran to Feline to tell her what he had discovered, but as as he stood close to her, short of breath, he saw that she had known all along. Feline, he began anyway. Will you marry me? I promise to love you and to protect you as long as I live. Feline didn't answer, but she held out her long and delicate paw. Not so fast, said a deep voice. Feline is going with me. It was Ronald the deer, his antlers lowered, ready for battle. I don't want to fight, said Bambi, who hated fights. I love Feline and she loves me, so we will get married. That's exactly what I mean, said Ronald. I want to marry Feline, so you must go away. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here because this part's getting long as well. So I will see you guys in the next part. Thanks for watching.